What's poppin', y'all? Just the other day, Sheck went on a long tweet spree that resulted in a lot of people giving a bunch of comments and opinions on the situation. And at first, I'm going to read out the tweet spree because I think the way that it started was lost in translation. Because, of course, like when you're posting things, you're just going to go for what's going to appeal to the largest amount of people, and you're not going to post a book on Instagram or anything like that. And this started off November 21st, and it says, I was supposed to YKTS on 12/8, but, and YKTS is You Know the Scouts. It's a song that he's released previously years ago, but if we are to assume that this is supposed to be an album, and that's December 8th. So 12/8, and he says, I'm actually a one-man show. I literally have no team, for real, for real. I got one guy who's just a great guy and helps, so this ish gonna take me forever. But it's just me, gang. I do everything alone. Alhamdulillah, my brother Biz helped me, but it's still just me. I'm not complaining, but it's just facts. The ish has stomach, stay silent, and sit through a lot of people will never. The problem is I'm too confident. People hate that, but I don't know. I'm like Michael Jackson, gang. Ain't my fault you look like a bug. So if I go and work, you want me to pay you and you didn't work or come to work, that's extortion. How you going mind F a mind effer? He says, I F with Chrome Hearts, but that's shirt, gang. Now, just a little bit of context here. You got to do a little bit of research. Like, what is this guy saying? So Sheck is Muslim. Shirk is like kind of like worshiping or adding symbols or anything that are anything but the one God. So Chrome Hearts, the logos, the things like that's what he's talking about, because the Chrome Hearts logo is across. But here, this all just starts off as saying like, hey guys, this is why I'm not dropping. I'm doing everything alone. And the funny thing is, the Michael Jackson thing, Kid Cudi also talked about that, but Sheck West doesn't get the hate for it because Cudi is a more hated figure than Sheck West, and the visibility of this tweet didn't go as crazy. But Sheck West is a confident guy, so I don't think he would fold in the way that Kid Cudi did. And he's been tweeting a lot, but continuing. He says, it take me 8 years to drop this ish, but no panic, I'm very confident and patient. I had recouped my record deal, and then everybody left me, lol. They say I'm this and that. People hate me because I'm handsome, and they know. Who the F recoups a deal? If you had or have a stylist, you're not fly. This is a fact right here. Like, people getting style talking about they fly. Come on, man. That's like getting lyrics written for you and saying you're a writer. Let's be real here. Or getting, the majority of your hits written for you. Now, if you have some help with writing, but you're also penning hits yourself, and there's a mix here and there, that's a different story. And also, for some people that say I'm switching up, no, I'm not switching up. That's different than being judged just by a rapper, the rapper category. Like, there, you got to be pure with your writing if you want to be in the top conversation of that. Rap artist is a little bit different. And he says, I'm on the plane, going 2 blood, whole plane, dank one, want to turn on his lights. I'm so confident it took me that long. These guys can't dress, can't write or make music, can't take a flick, just not cultured. I'm from Harlem. And the whole part about he's saying, it took him, he's so confident it took him that long, like 8 years or 9 years to drop an album. Mudboy was kind of like an EP. I thought it was like an album, but it is quite short, and we haven't gotten a full-length project from Sheck West yet. But I feel like if you're confident, you would drop quicker, right? Anyway, he's just tweeting. He's tweeting like he's just a regular person that's going on a tweet spree. And then he says, so before you say where your album, it's just me unless you want DistroKid albums. No manager for real. No A&R. No marketing team. No assistants. No friends. I live solo, do shows solo. Yes, when I was very young, successful, jealousy and envy met me at the front door. I take accountability for allowing people in my life. That's why I stay alone, but you can't do it alone. When you are alone, Allah is your best company to keep you a clean heart, clean conscience, clean intentions. People do you wrong, do them good, do them better. Trust in yourself and never lose connection with the powers that guide you. People work for you and shadow ban your socials. They want you to do good, but never better than them. That's not even human nature. I'm not complaining, I'm just not leaving. You naked to believe I don't give a F about music or my career. This is what I'm built for, the roots. And that's most of it, other than talking about his love for India, which I feel like I really need to visit India because my gut feeling and everything that I've seen and all of the friends that I've had that have visited have all said negative things and they didn't enjoy it. And I usually try to learn more about something that I have a gut negative feeling towards. And I know a couple of people, like I know a friend that I've met that spent a lot of time with somebody in Maharashtra, I think, India. And I just see like on his IG stories, I just see beautiful landscapes and animals and all this other stuff. So and Sheck West talking about it too. makes, because this guy's toured across the world. So if he's showing love to India, there's got to be something there that's going on. But I definitely would want a curated experience, not just spawning there like a just airdropping in and then walking about, because chaos is not my thing. Well, that level of chaos. So here, what gets clipped is, him, like, academics would talk about this, and he would say that Sheck Wes, he's just upset that he's fell off, this and that. I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
All right, man. Sheck Wes, I love you, but you're going through your designer arc. The realization that, unfortunately, you were a one-hit wonder, it's very hard to swallow. And I'm saying this respectfully, and you might even listen to me saying this, and even though I'm saying it in a very nice tone, and I'm trying to be, fair, you're probably still going to be mad. Because the truth does hurt. Designer felt the same way, too, before he started off on the plane. It's very hard to understand. Your career is over. Your career will forever be you performing that one song. Very successful song, by the way. By the way, that song will forever turn up a Rolling Loud anywhere. It'll turn up pretty much every party anywhere. Great song. But at the end of the day, it wasn't much after that. We just have to be honest. Like, this is the year, or we're in a year for a couple rappers of realizations. Like, they're starting to realize that this is over.
So, looking back at all of this, I decided to reach out to Sheck Wes because a couple of years ago, I had given my own comments. Like, you guys got to keep in mind, I'm like, y'all, I'm in the basement, mom's crib, and well, actually, some of y'all has probably got your own place, which credit to you. I'm trying to get like you one day. But I'm just speculating a lot of the time. Like, let's be real here. I'm just talking that talk. So he had tweeted out, like, kind of calling me out a couple of things. And he was like, yo, if you want information, just ask. I was like, okay, say less. So I reached out to Sheck Wes about this. And I asked, because I have a couple of questions of my own. In particular, why he didn't drop an album for 7 years. So academics and others, they've called Sheck Wes a one-hit wonder. I don't think that's all the way true. Like, for example, a Mo Bamba, that's just, that record is either diamond or going diamond. When you've got a diamond record, to expect somebody to come back with another diamond record, that's a lot. Like, this isn't Lil Nas X. And even Lil Nas X, who came back with, I think, multiple diamond records. I think he has at least 2, if I'm not mistaken, or multi-platinum. Even right now, his career is, where is it really? Where's the hype? Where is his fan base? We don't even know the identity of that. But with Sheck Wes, he had that song, Gang Gang. That song, he was a strong contributor to that song, and that song is a hit. Like, that's got over 200 million streams just on Spotify. But he didn't release an album for so long. So I started asking him, like, because there are different reasons why artists don't release. Some of them are very scared of the public perception. And I don't know if that was Sheck Wes. So I asked him, I was like, yo, were you ever prevented from dropping? Like, was it a label issue? Was something going on there? And you wanted to drop, or what's the deal? And then he made it clear that he was never prevented from dropping. He could always drop whenever he wanted. And then he also let me know that he also had respect for the windows of when people drop, so it doesn't confuse people. And like, it's kind of like, if you're on a label, labels do this, but he's saying that he consciously did this, where let's say Cardi B is dropping, if you're an A Boogie, you're not going to drop during Cardi B's window because a lot of the resources are going into a Cardi B. Now, granted, Cardi B dropping doesn't really help a Boogie, right? Whereas with Sheck Wes's people, it does help him because they were kind of like a crew, like with Jack Boys. And you can even see that in the support that he's shown for Sofago. Like, he tweeted out, currently playing Mania by Sofago. And that's the first project that Sofago's released in, 2-3 years? Like, there was Go. But yeah, anyway. And he would go on to say that he writes all of his treatments, like for the music videos. He makes all of his merch. He A&Rs his projects. And his whole point to all of this was that he does everything on his own, so it will take longer. And he was talking about that his success made others successful, kind of like helping him out. And there were people that helped. Like, if you guys recall, there were certain video directors that worked with Sheck Wes. He didn't say these names specifically, but I'm just saying this myself because I don't want to like create some maybe conflict or whatever. I'm saying this myself. He didn't give me any names of anything, but there were video directors. There were people around Sheck Wes creatively, and he's saying that he was the vision. So these people maybe assisted, maybe got more opportunities and then left. And that may be not a sign of frustration, but I would be frustrated if that happened, especially when you're lit and you're trying to help other people out. I think a lot of people took that to mean that it was artists hating on him, and I don't really think that's the case. And it could also be like A&Rs and people like that as well. He also made it known that he's recorded 3 projects since 2020. So he's actually working. And that's the thing that I wanted to know. Like, is this guy recording? Did he take a break? Because we've seen people take extended breaks from music, and that's not good. So what happened? He played basketball. Well, actually, let's take a look at first the release schedules of other people in Cactus Jack. So we had Jack Boys, the original Jack Boys, released in December of 2019. Mudboy released in 2018, October of 2018 to be specific. So he's riding the wave of Mudboy. You got to think, like, there were while there weren't massive hits on it, you had like Live Sheck West already was out, but you had songs like Chippy Chippy. That one was like, it had its own like wave, WESPN. So he was going off of 2018. Keep in mind, Astroworld also released that year, so he was touring with Travis Scott. And then you get Jack Boys. So then Jack Boys comes. It makes sense. Gang Gang is going crazy. You've got a song on Jack Boys. He could drop at that time, but he doesn't. And it kind of makes sense why. But then 2020, you've got Heaven or Hell, which is Don Toliver. So, and we're going to talk about a buffer of, we should say like 4 months, especially during then. Like now the buffer is probably a lot shorter because people move on quick. But the buffer there would be like 4 months or so. And Sheck West was also on Heaven or Hell by Don Toliver. He was on the song Spaceship. So they're collaborating. This is 2020. And then 2021, I think he could have dropped 2020, but you got to keep in mind, 2020, he was thinking about basketball because he would drop his song Been Ballin' on November of 2020. And this was like a music video. It was good music video. If you haven't checked it out, you guys should definitely check it out. But he dropped that, and this was an announcement that he would be ballin'. So he would go play with a Parisian basketball team from around May to June. He played a couple of games, but you guys got to think, if he's playing a couple of games, that means there's months leading up to this where he was training, where he was talking to different teams, and where he's trying to get back into hoop mode because he was just in rap mode. So this is all going on around 2020 leading into 2021. 2021, a lot is happening that year. Of course, this guy's still doing shows, still touring, all of that other stuff. I think 2021 he could have dropped, but towards the end of 2020, he probably wasn't recording as much considering he was doing basketball full time. And we don't know if he was thinking of maybe re-signing, doing another game, or doing another stint with the team, or falling back into rap completely. I think this was the right window. If there was a window where he would drop a project, it would be in 2021. That would be like the optimal time at that point. However, in 2021, you guys got to think, if he's doing all of this stuff himself, and we don't know how much of that is him wanting to do all of it himself or not having the team around him to do it, because it seems like Cactus Jack is a bit scrappier when it comes to putting together projects, because Cactus Jack has different JV partnerships depending on the artist that's signed there. So it's not just all like Cactus Jack, Interscope. Like for instance, Sheck West was Cactus Jack, Good Music, and Interscope, and Good Music wasn't doing much. So he's Cactus Jack, Interscope, or was Cactus Jack, Interscope. Don Toliver is Cactus Jack, Atlantic, which is way bigger. And you had Sofago, who was Cactus Jack, and I forgot the label that he was with. I think he was just regular Cactus Jack and his own distributor or something like that. Maybe Universal Distribution. It doesn't really say. But he's just Cactus Jack if you check the distribution of his projects. So that's the difference between a Cactus Jack and an old Good Music that was Good Music Def Jam. And if you were signed, you were all under Good Music Def Jam. So that's why there may be different treatments for different Cactus Jack artists in the way that you see their projects rolled out. In 2021, Aiden Ross is blowing up like crazy. People call this prime Aiden Ross, although I do think Aiden Ross is going through another prime right now. And he was one of the first people to lock in with Aiden Ross, show him a lot of love. He brought him to a lot of shows. He connected him to a lot of Travis's people. Granted, you could say, I think it was maybe Ray's Corrupted Mind, that I knew that guy as like a photographer from 2015 era. I think he's done a lot of different things on the Travis Scott Cactus Jack team since then. But that guy, Ray's Corrupted Mind, I don't know who came first, Sheck West or Ray's Corrupted Mind. But as a rapper, Sheck West showed a lot of love to Aiden when a lot of rappers were iffy. They didn't know what was going on. So he built a strong relationship with Aiden Ross at that time. Then we've got 2022. So it's like, okay, dog, are you going to release in 2022? Well, not really. What we would get in 2021 was like we would get 2022 actually. We would get the song MVP, which was with FaZe Clan. That was Kason. And Fabio Foreign was also on that track. New York track. we would also get a couple more songs from Sheck West in 2022. So I think he was probably gearing up to potentially release. Like we got LFG, Let's Effing Go so the first track was May, then in October we get that track, and then before the end of the year we get the track Pain, which was towards the end of November. So we get somewhat of a consistent release schedule from Sheck West. But 2022, what would also happen is Sofago drops November 11th. So if he's kind of like allowing time for that, and this was Pink Hearts, this was the big Sofago moment. If we're allowing time there, let's just give it a couple more months. Then you've got 2023. Now we're in 2023. What do we have going on in 2023? We've got two separate things that are gigantic. We've got Lovesick with Don Toliver, right? That album drops in February. And then you've got Utopia towards the middle of the year. Lovesick did not have like an official feature from Sheck West. I don't know if he did like any backing vocals or anything on there, but these guys were still like, they're tight. As far as I know, like these guys are cool. Travis Scott drops Utopia. That's the big Travis Scott moment. And on Utopia, the biggest song on there, Fiend, was it originally had an extended version with Sheck West on it, but they put Cardi on it, and we also got Sheck West vocals on the biggest song there. And then what follows after Utopia? We get the Circus Maximus tour, which is like 85 shows stadium tour that goes on for like a year and a half, and Sheck West is one of the people that goes on that tour for several different dates, or not several dates, a bunch of dates. Now we are in 2024. And what are we doing in 2024? Well, there was also the Utopia Circus Maximus tour that was going on, but there's the lead up to Jack Boys 2, which happens in 2025. So the majority of 2024 is Utopia tour. We still don't really get much out of Sheck West when it comes to music. Like we've got, I think, a song or two that released in 2024 by Sheck West, but it didn't really shake anything up, and it wasn't like a big release. Like he dropped the song Beast. That was just like a loose single that kind of dropped. And then we got I Love My Beat. This was earlier in the year, April 2025. I thought this was a good song. It was a good drop, but this was the lead up to Jack Boys 2. I thought that this was potentially, okay, this is where we're going to get Sheck West's album, but that didn't end up being the case. So, of course, he's focused on Jack Boys 2. He's on several tracks on Jack Boys 2. I think Jack Boys 2, it didn't hit. Like, it didn't have the lasting effect of Jack Boys 1. I think the project itself, when it comes to the music, it was good, but I just think the only con was that no huge hit came out of it. And I think Jack Boys 2 would be perceived differently if one of these tracks just caught fire and went crazy. But we had several tracks where Sheck West was a full-on feature, which is, you got Velour, you got I Love My Beat, which is pretty much his full song, and a Travis Scott feature. And this is where you see that these guys are locked in the sense that they're still cool. He's still collaborating with these guys. So Sheck West was also talking about that he wants to perform, because this is the thing. I was like, yo, Sheck, you're a live performer. Mo Bamba goes crazy in live performances. You have the energy, but like, where is the Sheck West tour? And he's talking about like he's working on all of this stuff. He's working on the album. But the point that he's trying to make is, hey, this is going to take me a lot more time because I don't really got a team around me. And it's not that he's complaining, but he's letting people know it's going to take me longer. And I do think that it's for sure not over for Sheck West. In the same way that I've said, now the timing is different now. I think a lot of people have more time to come back now. Like, for instance, a Sofago. Like, yo, we thought it was cooked. And Sofago Mania is gearing up to be a solid project. Like, and there's also sufficient attention around it. Like, people still care about Sofago dropping. It didn't fall on deaf ears. Like, what's an example of somebody that dropped and it somewhat fell on deaf ears? A Lil Mosey, right? Like, a Lil Mosey there isn't as much spread of when his album drops. Like, obviously his core fan base, they know when he drops and they're like, okay, I'm tapped in with that. But it doesn't spread. With Sofago, it spread. With another example of somebody that took a very, very long break was Sababy. When his project dropped, it spread. And people were talking about like, oh, nah, there was crazy promo for this. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's going to catch word of mouth as well. And there was word of mouth around Sababy's project that came from, you could have said it came from initial promo, but Sababy took such a long time off. And Sofago in the same way, like he hasn't dropped in several years. Now, granted, the trajectory that he had, a lot of people were saying like, yo, it was him and Yeet. And now Yeet is just light years away from most artists, not just him. Like Yeet is one of of the best rap artists in the game right now. So circling back to Sheck West, who is leading in cultural conversation and steering music for the younger generation, it's streamers. Aiden Ross, you've got not so much Aiden Ross, but like Blackboy Max, all of these guys, and all these guys mess with Sheck West. So when Sheck West drops, it will be visible and we will be paying attention. It's not like Sheck West is going to drop an album on deaf ears unless it's a DistroKid album. And this is where I get his frustration, because think about it like this. If you are a Sheck West and you just drop, and you're working on everything yourself as well, so you're spending money, you're working on your music video treatments, you're like directing the whole vision and the rollout for your project, or not even rollout in this case, just the music, and you drop it on DistroKid and nobody even knows that you dropped it. It's almost like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it still make a sound? Now you could get into the whole, what is it called? Theoretical physics? No, it's like some, not nuclear physics. Oh my God, I forgot. Quantum physics. Yeah, like the whole quantum physics explanation of that. But nobody's there listening to it. It's discouraging. And it's also like, all of this lead up just to drop it on DistroKid and a couple of people hear it. So he's trying to make sure that it gets the release that it deserves and there's enough people that listen to it. So I think right now it's just about the quality of the project, because if SoFago drops and we care, we're going to care when Sheck West drops. Granted that there's a sufficient harnessing of attention and anticipation prior to the drop, which is not something we've seen Sheck West work on for quite a while. We just need, it's like sometimes he'll just drop a single here and there. I just hope that or someone on his team, well, he says he's Dolo. I just hope that he's got the vision of, you can't just drop it like you did a Mudboy. And by drop it, I mean just like put it out there without, I would say like, there needs to be anticipation now. Like a lot of people were saying like, there's just the drop method, which is like, the person just drops it right away that night. And that was several years ago. I think we're back into rollout mode, especially for somebody that's going to re-enter the consciousness of people like a Sheck West, who everyone is familiar with, but we don't know what to expect from a project. It's been years, and we've heard him, like he stayed at the forefront of our minds through like the Cactus Jack features. He also let me know that he's very, very locked in, tapped in with his faith, and that's always been a theme in his music. I mean, probably with the level of temptation when you're first blowing up, maybe he strayed away. I don't know, but it always seemed like he was on point with that. But that's something that he's holding on to a lot more, and you can see it via his tweets as well. So from what I gathered, speaking to him, this wasn't a crash out on Twitter. It wasn't like a bunch of tweets of frustration. I mean, he seems to have like his head on straight. Everything seems to be fine. He's not on drugs. And I don't even know if he did drugs like that other than, some gas here and there. But I am looking forward to seeing what he's got to drop. Like, we're going to be paying attention to that here for sure. Regardless, we would have been paying attention to it just because, like, I've watched everything pan out with Sheck West in real time, and I've actually covered it real time. Like, I watch everything happen with Young Thug too, but I wasn't posting stuff back in 2015. Well, I should have, but that's the game. So like from 2018 onward, like especially for those of you that have been here, which is like, it's crazy that there are some people that have been here for that long, you've seen the coverage on it, and it's never too late. That's what I will say right now, because I think the things that are mattering less and less right now is age, as well as just like the idea of falling off, because everything is a little bit more spread out and less centralized. So age, not for an artist to blow up for the first time or have their debut. Like, to be 45 and blow up, I don't know. I really don't know. But if an artist had already blown up and had already entered everybody's mind to a sufficient level, and they're like in their 30s now, or even late 30s, or even early 40s, I don't think people care like they used to. Like Future's 42, Ty Dolla $ign's like, we don't even know. We don't know how old Ty Dolla $ign is, and we don't care because he just keeps giving us heat. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all on the next one.